Hey there, folks. Welcome back to PBS Live. I'm your host, Mark Buckets, and another week has passed. Honestly, it's hard to believe that I'm already on show number 11, and I don't know why. It's just the time, it just keeps flying by. I'm just not exactly for sure. By the way, I want to let everyone know that this is, in fact, a live program, so if you're interested in joining me, first off, go grab a drink, relax, chill out. We're going to have a really awesome conversation today about some of the stuff that you can do and that I can do in order to stay motivated and to stay passionate about our photography endeavors. And if you are interested in participating and hanging out with your other photography cohorts, head on over to the YouTube watch page. And you can hang out with other photographers and other videographers that have the same questions, same interests, and maybe you can make some friends. Making friends is always good. So I'll just tell you right now that tonight I'm having a bit of, and this is not an endorsement, by the way, I just really like it as a sipping whiskey. Wild Turkey, American Honey. Fantastic stuff. Really is. It is an excellent, it is probably my favorite next to regular old Maker's Mark. Of course, I live in Kentucky, so we're in bourbon country. So everything about bourbon completely and totally is amazing to me. And of course, I like vodka too. I think a lot of you all know that I love my vodka monster. So go and scoop up one of your favorite beverages this evening if you're of age. And if you're not, then go grab something else delicious to whet your palate. And then let's get started. First up, I wanted to tell you all that there have just been an absolute ton of new things and suches and whatnots that have been released out into the wild here recently. And I'm going to pull up just a couple because I honestly am having a hard time believing that it is even possible to release this much new gear into the wild in this short a span. Let's see if I can pull it up here. I'm sure most of you, if you're even, remotely in the know, I've even thought about just starting like a dedicated photography news show each week, just kind of do like a wrap up of the most amazing, awesome photography news segments or whatever, just sort of like a photography roundup. I'm not really sure if I want to get into anything more scheduled than the one show that I already have, which is this one. PBS Live, honestly, it is a very consistent show thus far, except for when I'm sick. But the biggest new development for me over the last couple of days has been, to me, it is a 150 fucking percent validation of the fact that mirrorless is a viable, completely and totally competitive, completely and totally pro tool. Like I said, maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't, but Leica just got into the mirrorless game. It's a true story. I was pretty damn surprised at the fact that Leica, they are the essence of top-notch, high quality. I can't even begin to imagine why, if it wasn't a viable technology, why they would even be getting involved. But it only goes to validate all those that made the jump much earlier. We had vision. We saw shit. We saw it before it ever got here. And we knew, genuinely, that it was the next evolutionary step in photography. Contrary to many, many people's beliefs that it was a toy, it was a novelty, there's no way that it could ever be professionally used or whatever. I just like seeing this kind of thing because what it does is it provides not only validation, but it provides us with the tools to go, see, technology is what created photography in the first place. Too many people think that new advancements or new innovations or new technology and stuff like that, that it's not, you know, I don't know, with it, or that it's not there, or it's not a viable option or a viable avenue for anybody. And I must admit that I know that, like, watch me whip, watch me nay-nay. Maybe I'm just getting older. Fuck, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But, like, that is not even remotely close to music to me. But I know that a lot of people probably think that it is. And then I can go, yeah, well, back in my day, music was when you had long hair and you dressed like a woman and you wore lipstick and you sang a ballad. That was real music. Poison, Warrant, Skid Row. And those aren't really even my favorite types of bands. But the point I'm trying to make is that even as, like, derogatory as I will basically talk about other types of music, I know that it's the next step. I know that it's the next evolution. I just don't happen to like it. And I think that most people, if they were going to be genuinely honest with themselves, they would say, okay, look, it's not that I don't know, or if, you know, it's not that I don't think that it could be a good thing. It's mainly the fact that I just don't fucking like it. That's the reason I'm not buying into it. And I think that if more people were honest about it and just come out and say that, they would walk away with a hell of a lot more respect for me and a lot more credibility for the masses, because those of us that actually went and said, okay, look, I can see where this is going. And it's pretty damn good already. But holy shit, I can only imagine what it's actually going to be like when it's a fully formed, fully developed idea. And some people have vision, and some people don't. But anyhow, Leica has decided to get into the mirrorless game. Now, as you all know, Leica is extremely, extremely expensive. But they have just announced today a brand new 24 megapixel full frame camera called the Leica SL. It's a mirrorless camera system that competes directly with the likes of Sony. Everyone and their mom was bashing Sony. Everybody. We were only touting it because we were getting paid. We were only singing its praises because we were being bought off. There was absolutely no one really, honestly, genuinely buying this shit. It was all just garbage. No pro in a million years would ever pick this stuff up and use it for a professional shoot. But now one of the biggest, most prestigious, most well-known names in photography is getting into it. And if they're investing in it, then you absolutely positively know that you are not in a fad. You are in the next step. So the new SL from Leica is a new non-rangefinder. It's a full-frame camera with interchangeable lenses, which I think is awesome that they did, in fact, with this particular setup, make it so that it was interchangeable lens compatible. And according to the article, Leica says that the new SL is a mirrorless camera system designed for professional photographers. Now, just remember I said that. Leica, I repeated it, but Leica said it. Designed for professional photographers. Inside the Leica SL is a 24 megapixel full-frame CMOS sensor that has a max ISO of 50,000. A low-pass filter is left out for maximum sharpness and contrast. The camera is also fast. It boasts what Leica is calling the fastest autofocus on the market, and the 2 gigabit buffer lets you shoot up to 11 full res photos per second and save them to the dual SD memory card slots in both 8-bit JPEG and 14-bit RAW DNG simultaneously. Okay, and on the back of the Leica SL is an impressive 4.4 megapixel, 0.80 times magnification electronic viewfinder. Yet another thing that people were telling us that was going to be complete and total shit, that EVF could not be a feasible, viable way to view their photographs. And yet here it is. Leica, German-made, German engineering, one of the highest priced camera setups, bodies on the planet, one of the most prestigious names in photography. Not only creating a mirrorless camera, but including an electronic viewfinder instead of an optical one. So either the entire world has gone mad, or mirrorless is actually a viable option. Okay? And I think to a large extent that most people just didn't think that that was going to be the case. I don't understand why, but that just seems to be what everyone started saying right out of the gate. They were just like, oh, it's horseshit. Why would anyone at all ever want to use an electronic viewfinder? You know, and to a very, very large extent, it does, at least when you think about it in the past tense, it does seem somewhat of a gimmick. But the more people play with it, the more people mess with it, the more that people understand the massive amounts of quality, reliability. You're able to see what you're going to get in the frame before you ever take the shot. And I think that that is an amazing benefit. You know, some people may disagree, but the vast majority of people, if they have not bought into mirrorless already, they have looked at it, considered it seriously, or just about to. And that's a true story. It is not the gimmick. It is not the fad that most people think that it is, or was. I don't even know which one to use anymore. Is it still a fad? Is it still a toy? Or have those days finally gone by? I don't know. But it goes on to say that the EVF boasts a refresh rate so high that it's always smooth and consistent. You press the shutter halfway and the EVF will show you a preview of exactly what the resulting shot is going to look like. I find that pretty interesting. Then it goes on to say, it says, underneath the EVF is a 2.95-inch, 1.04 million dot touchscreen LCD that has a viewing angle of 170 degrees. Not bad, not bad. Almost 3 inches. It's a little small, but it is an extremely compact camera. So, you know, for the most part, we're looking at, you know, some really decently equivalent style hardware here, at least as far as the LCD is concerned. I mean, 3-inch, you know, LCD screens on cameras have been pretty much the standard for several years now. So not overly impressive, but it's nice to see that they fit almost a full-size LCD on the back of such a small camera. It goes on to say that the Leica SL is built to be a rugged camera. It's made of solid aluminum and is protected with weather-resistant seals that keep dust, moisture, and splashes out of your camera. The rear LCD's glass is scratch-resistant and has an anti-glare coating. So apparently, as they go on to describe more about this, for lenses, the SL uses the Leica L mount. 3 lenses have been announced for the new system so far. So let's just be clear here. This is not a system that's already been around for a while. It's not some system that they're adapting to a mirrorless style body. This is a brand spanking new. mount specifically made for mirrorless. 3 lenses have been announced for the new system so far. A Leica Vario ãÂÄ SL 24 to 90mm f2.8 to 4 will be launched with the camera. A Leica APO Vario ãÄÄ SL 90 280mm f2.8 to 4 will arrive in early 2016, and a Leica Simulux SL 50mm f1.4 will hit the market in late 2016. So just get that, jotted down, because in fact you're only going to have one lens if you decide to pick up this camera system early. And I would generally say that most of you are not willing to pay as much as they're going to be asking for it. Speaking of the amount that this thing is going to cost, you can read the rest of the article over at petapixel.com. We're right there. Price tag of $7,450. $7,450. The 24 to 90mm f2.8 to 4 lens will launch at the same time for $4,950. So I'll be the first one to say that this is not a camera for everyone. Leica never is. Leica is a highly specialized brand. It really is. It's sort of like the Apple. Yeah. That or Hasselblad. It's sort of like the Apple. It's the creme de la creme. High engineering standards. German made. German quality. German reliability. We all know how their cars do. So most people are not going to buy this. Most people, if they're going to want a interchangeable lens camera system, they're probably, if they're getting into the mirrorless game, they're going to go with Sony. Period. End of story. Most people are just not going to buy anything else. And I think that that's a huge reason that Sony has done so well, because their marketing and the people that actually picked up their stuff and took a look at it, saw the massive benefit to, I guess, what everybody else was kind of talking about. I mean, everyone was blown away by all these advancements in the technology itself. There was just a huge amount of hype, I guess, but it wasn't like fake hype. I mean, I get it. I mean, hype can go one of two ways. It can be genuine, real hype. That's, you've got technology that's genuinely trending within a community, or you've got fake hype where some company is quite literally trying to buy off or pay off, or they've got extremely good advertising or promotional materials, and that is the thing that generates the hype. But the hype has sustained itself with Sony. Sony's done an extremely good job keeping us interested. I don't see too many of us lagging off or whatever, but even going past all the Canon stuff, or not the Canon stuff, but the Leica stuff, now we've got Canon, who's just released 2 or 3 new mirrorless cameras. Nikon has tried it a couple times, has done a pretty shitty job of it. Samsung has done it. You see pros every single day. YouTubers just like myself every single day, now they're shooting not with a traditional DSLR, but half the time you see them with a mirrorless camera. Tony Northrup, the Camera Store TV, Gary Fong, Jason Lanier, you just see everyone picking these things up. And when they do, when you see them out on shoots, you see them with these mirrorless cameras. They're not carrying around the DSLRs anymore. And for me, it really didn't have nearly as much to do Maybe my audio is messed up. Is it me or is my audio messed up? Is that better? Okay, maybe it is better. If my audio is messed up, I want to just apologize right out of the gate. I deeply, deeply apologize. But it did kind of sound like my audio was pretty jacked there for a second. At any rate, God, I hope I didn't waste 20 total minutes with my audio all messed up. But anyway, so getting back to the mirrorless thing, there is just a million different people that are actually picking up this stuff now. They are picking it up. It's a genuine, real thing. It's not just some fake thing that's going on out there. This is genuine. This is real. These are real tools being used by real professionals, being used on real jobs. And just the fact that there are more and more companies, there are more and more people out there actually picking these things up and using them actively and making good use of them, showing everyone what this technology can actually do. It is a massive, massive dynamic shift in the way the market is actually moving. Okay, so having said all that, I just want to say that, the guys that actually picked up the mirrorless systems very early, we were right. We saw that. We had the foresight to see that that was the next step. That was the next evolution in photography. I'm not trying to say I told you so, but I told you so. So anyway, I want to get right on into the actual topic of the show. And that happens to be how to stay motivated, how to stay passionate about photography. I know that a lot of people have an extremely hard time maintaining your level of excitement, your level of passion, and your level of determination for photography. I know that I do all the time, consistently, all the time. And I think to a large extent, I think it's natural. I don't think that anyone should feel bad about that. I don't think that anyone should feel awful about that. I don't think that anyone should, see that as a negative. Because I think to a large extent, going through cycles, going through your ups and downs is it's a very real, very natural part of just being a human being. I mean, you have highs and lows, you have good days, you have bad days, you have positive days and negative days. But the hardest part for a lot of people is maintaining a level of conviction, maintaining a level of passion that's actually going to translate day after day after day into being a productive, excited photographer, someone that has something to do that day. I mean, I know that it's happened to me so many times I can't even count, where I'll be like, I ain't got anything to shoot. I done shot everything, done looked at everything. I'm pretty much, I'm at the end of the rope. I'm out of ideas. But I don't necessarily think that that's the case. I don't necessarily think that that's true. Someone actually did me a favor yesterday. I posted a vlog post. It was called "Does Our Art Really Matter?" If you want to go check that out, you can. Just don't do it now. Stick with me and help me out. Stay with the show. Anyway, so basically what I was going through yesterday morning was what I do on occasion. I on occasion will kind of sit around and I'll think about, well, you know what? Does my art even matter to anyone? Does anyone get any enjoyment from it? I work my ass off, especially with the YouTube channel now. I mean, I bust my ass trying to constantly come up with content and think of ways to keep people entertained and keep ways to keep people informed and all that kind of stuff. And ultimately, what I find out is that it is extremely, extremely difficult. People are very fickle creatures. They don't really like, you for very long, and that is 100% reflected based on like channel stats and stuff like that. Their audience retention is very low. Like, people these days quite literally must have the attention span of a gnat. I think the average view duration on most of my videos is roughly somewhere in the ballpark, right around 3 to 4 minutes, somewhere in there. Any more than that, they just don't have time for it. And I think that we're just constantly bombarded with shit that we don't know how to slow the fuck down and just actually have a genuine, honest, real conversation with one another. We don't know how to help each other out on a one-on-one basis, where we're just talking to one fucking person, connecting with that one person, understanding where they're coming from. I mean, you're going to meet a million D-bags every single day. They're not going to mean jack shit, and they're just going to pass away. They're going to go away. You're never going to see or talk to them ever again. No big deal. But what if it didn't have to be that way? What if you tried to sit down and you actually had a genuine, real conversation with someone, got to know them, and it ended up becoming like a strong, creative partner with you, for you, around you? And I just think that so many times we get lost. We lose so much because we're constantly moving so fast. It's just a guess, but I think I'm right. So if we want to stay positive, if we want to stay passionate, if we want to stay engaged with our craft, I've kind of compiled a small list of stuff that you can do, that we can do, because it's an us problem. It is definitely not just a me problem. It's definitely an us problem. And to a large extent, I think that it's our own problem. We have to, you and I, on a day-to-day basis, we have to constantly remain engaged. We must constantly remain vigilant and aware of what we're doing, who we're doing it for, why it's even important. Because if we don't try and keep those things in our minds, in our consciousness, I do think that we'll lose interest. We'll lose our passion for creating. We'll lose our passion for the day in and the day out, and just not really giving a shit. And it happens to all of us. But here are a few ideas that could potentially help us stay engaged and involved and motivated and genuinely passionate about what we do. Because I do think that it is 110% our responsibility, each and every one of us. I'm only responsible for myself. I have to take control, take the reins of my own life every single day and go, okay, Mark, you can sit on your ass and do absolutely nothing today, or you can get up, get out there, and do something, create something, or this day will go unused and you'll never get it back. So, I mean, it is critical that we at least try every single day to make something, create something, and then turn around and give it to people. Give our creativity to other people. And that's all I try to do here. I hate just talking to myself half the time when I do this show, but I hope that not only the people that watch me on a regular basis will see this and see these types of episodes and go, man, it was a good show. I really like the information that was presented. It helped me. But I also want to create content and shows that people will go, man, Mark really let a fire under my ass tonight, and I should get up and go do something right now. So that's my ultimate goal. Okay, so let me go ahead and I will start with the first thing. Before we get started, though, I want to try and remind every single person that this is, in fact, a live show. And if you are interested in hanging out with your fellow photographers and talking about these ideas and these concepts, then head on over to the YouTube watch page and log in, hang out with your other photographers and videographer friends, chat, talk, share your thoughts and ideas. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the comment box as well, and I'll be happy, very happy, to try and answer them for you. Okay, but before I get started with the very first tip for staying motivated, I'm going to read a couple of comments that I have that are in the chat room already. And this goes back to what we were talking about before, DSLR versus mirrorless. Says, Mildred Williams says, I still don't think the DSLR is dead. I think we have quite a long way to go before that happens. I don't think it was a case of thinking the mirrorless wouldn't catch on. So when you say, ha ha, it kind of pisses me off, to be honest. I think we can be real with one another, and we'll continue to love you, my brother, in photography. This might come up as Mildred, but it's me, Millie. I figured. And she also says, I don't know why my comment is so messed up with so many errors. Don't worry. I totally got it. I'm not trying to piss anyone off. I'm not saying ha. I'm just saying that, you know, there are certain people out there that do have foresight. I don't think DSLRs are dead, but I do believe they're on their way out, and that's almost as good as dead, because the next step is already here. And, you know, the next evolution of photography is already here. So to a large extent, some of us, many of us, we already knew that that was going to be the next step a long time ago. So I think that for those people that had the foresight to say, yes, this is the next step, knowing that and having that foresight, it goes a lot to the point that we're not afraid of what the future is going to bring into our hands. I have no idea over the next 5 years what is going to land on my camera shelf. I have no idea. And you know what? That excites the living shit out of me. It does. Because I'll tell you, I think just like Vincent Laforet said, the cell phones have already won. They have definitely already won. Keep that in mind. I'm telling you, the cell phones have already won. Okay, so go ahead and get started. So here's some of the things that I do to try to help me stay motivated and stay passionate about photography. Number one, you can't stay passionate and interested and productive in photography if you don't carry your camera. Keep your camera on you, by you, in a bag, right on your hip, in your car, with you at all times. You can't photograph jack shit if you don't have a camera with you. So keep it with you at all times. If wherever you're happen to be going or whatever, you just never know when the opportunity is going to present itself. I don't know how many times I've just run out of the house, didn't take a camera or anything, and as soon as I got to where it was I was going, or maybe on the way or on the way back, I turn around and I go, damn it! I wish I had that camera with me. And it's a missed opportunity. You'll never get it back. So that's my number one tip, is you can't be a passionate, motivated, productive photographer if you don't even have your camera with you. The second thing that I would say is surround yourself with other creative people. You've got to have a community of support. surrounding yourself with other creative people. Say one day you've got to, or maybe you just get a wild hair up your ass and you want to do some sort of like, I don't know, gothic photo shoot, but you don't have any models. Well, I mean, if you stayed active and engaged with, you know, costume and set designers, hair and makeup artists, models and agents, theatrics classes, you know, places like colleges and stuff like that are going to have a plethora, a massive amount of different resources for you to access, and people that are actually interested in doing that kind of stuff. So makeup artists, hair, wardrobe, locations, talk to people, surround yourself with other creative people, because they can not only give you ideas, but you can bounce ideas off of them. You can use their resources. You can use the models. You can use hair and makeup, because they're all artists too. And if no one sees the hair and makeup job that they did, then, you know, their work goes unappreciated. If you don't know anybody in wardrobe, I mean, they're artists too. And if no one sees their work goes unappreciated. So you've got to surround yourself with a strong community of other like-minded individuals, so that when you actually go, man, I got it, I know what I want to do, you don't have that moment where you're like, ah, fuck, but I don't know anybody that would be willing to do it. So make sure you surround yourself with a lot of other creatives. Number 3, you are going to want to give yourself a lot of projects to do. You have to give yourself projects. You really do. You almost have to sort of like set a goal and say, okay, today I'm going to do, I don't know, XYZ. I'm going to do fall photography. I'm going to do some fall photography. I'm going to include like a couple pieces of corn and maybe a pumpkin. I don't know, whatever the case may be. And then you incorporate that into your fall photography. But you have to narrow the focus. You have to give yourself, I guess, like an ending point. You have to give yourself a goal. Because a lot of times it is very hard to just brainstorm all by yourself about a particular project and just, you know, think of something. And while I'm on that, excuse me, I just wanted to let everyone know that I actually use a program, an app, on occasion that helps me do just that. It helps to give me assignments. That app is right there in the middle top. It's called OK, Do This. I don't know if anyone can see that. You can find it on the App Store for free if you happen to be an iPhone or iOS user. I don't know if it's available on Android. I honestly have never checked, but I assume that it is. But it's called OK, Do This. And it is just idea after idea after idea after idea of other people thinking up stuff to do. And then you can turn around, do the assignment, do the project, and then upload it in a very social manner, much like Instagram or whatever. And, you know, have your particular photographs or projects or comps or whatever mingled in with other people that did that assignment. So if you were looking to give yourself an assignment, that app is a fantastic way to get that done. So that was number 3. Okay, here's another really cool idea. Start a 365 day project. I know a lot of people say, okay, well, I'm going to do a certain photo every single day for 365 days a year. At least if you start that kind of project and you commit to that kind of project, you will at least put your camera in your hands at least once a day. And if you do that, you might actually spur on more enthusiasm, more creativity. Who the fuck knows? But just putting the camera in the hands is probably going to be a big benefit to most people, because honestly, at times, if you don't see the camera, if you don't touch the camera, if you don't feel the camera, if you don't have it in your presence, you're not going to really think about being photographic or doing anything photographic related. So if you start a 365-day project, it forces you to put the camera in your hands every single day. All right, so the next tip I have for you is change your location a lot. A lot of times when you get into like a groove, you see the same stuff every single day. Most of the time, we start off shooting what we see every single day. When we first get into photography and you first get a camera, first thing you do is you walk right outside into your yard, start taking photographs of leaves and plants and flowers and your pets and your significant other. And then it sort of spirals out from there. You hit your brother and your sister up and your mom and your dad and, you know, just your friends. And then maybe you take it to the club once or twice. And then slowly but surely it takes you longer and longer to get out there and do something. But if you change your location, you see a bunch of new shit, you immediately go, oh my God, look at all this amazing new stuff that I can photograph. And then you actually get more excited, more passionate about picking up that camera and going out there and grabbing some shots. I think it's an excellent way. Move locations. Just move around a little bit. That's all it really takes. Okay. The next one I got is to experiment. You've got to try new stuff all the time. Sometimes you just don't know what you like until you give it a shot. No pun intended. But 9 times out of 10, we don't do stuff because we think that we won't like it, not because we know that we don't like it. And you have to give yourself the chance to not like it. Don't just think that you're not going to like it, because honestly, for the longest time, I thought I was going to hate doing portrait work. But I would say that 90% of everything I do involves portraits, which is both awesome and depressing, because I love to do a lot of different things, but that just seems to be the thing that makes me the most money, I guess. But you have to experiment. You have to try different stuff. You really should do some of the projects that you find in Okay Do This, or some of the ideas that I've given in like trick photography. Do like light writing, still photography, tilt shift. Experiment with different things. Experiment with shadows and different types of light and different perspectives, different color balances, white balances. Change things. Mess around. Fuck shit up. Don't follow the rules just because someone else says you have to. Experiment. Find your own way. And I think that you'll find some creative passion involved in coloring outside the lines a bit. Now I know that just before that I said, you know, move around and go to new places, but there are a lot of things that you could photograph that you already find commonplace, that you already find normal or regular. There are a lot of things in your day-to-day life that you could focus on, hyper focus on items, places, situations in your area. Macro photography is a way to hyper focus. Concentrating on texture, concentrating on palette, those kind of things can help you hyper focus on something completely and totally new. A lot of times when I just get bored, the most amazing way to blow your mind is to just throw on a macro lens and go out there and just start investigating stuff that you take for granted every day. Blades of grass, how the fibers and stuff like that are actually interwoven together. Your insects, standard awesome stuff. The bark of a tree, the texture and the veins of a leaf. Find beautiful things in the stuff that you take for granted. Find beauty in the common stuff that you see and interact with every single day. So, another thing that I think that could genuinely help the vast majority of people is to have someone else take a look at your work and critique it. I don't personally like to do critiques because I don't want to upset or piss off anybody on purpose, because I'm brutally honest. I'm not one of those fluffers. I don't just say nice things to, make people feel good. I mean, you should not ask people for their opinion if you want to lie. And I don't want to waste your time at all. And I don't want you wasting mine. So if you ask me for my opinion, I want to genuinely and realistically give that to you. But I am just one individual. Most people don't get that. They go, all right, I asked him and he fucking hated it, and now I hate him. So it really doesn't make much sense to do many critiques personally, especially when I'm trying to gain viewership and not run it away. But it is an important thing as an artist to be critiqued, especially from people you don't know, because they don't give a shit about you. They are going to give you their honest opinion, hopefully. It's almost better if you don't tell them that you're the artist. Or set up a showing, a viewing on the side of the road. And set up like maybe a tiny microphone and a camera and just get people's reactions. Get people's, see what they say. You'll get some very honest, very real feedback that way. Some of my work has actually been hung in an art gallery, and of course, when people are walking in, they won't know that you're the artist. So what you can do is you can actually move through the gallery with them and listen to them. Just cross your arms, tune in, and just see what they have to say about you. See what they think. I do a lot of very odd shit. So a lot of people are just like, what exactly in the fuck is going on here? And that's exactly what I want them to say. Because if they are saying that, they are 100% thinking that. And I don't want someone to go, oh, that's really pretty, that's gorgeous, and then move along. But I want someone to go, what in the hell exactly is happening in this one? But then again, maybe that's just me being a complete and total weirdo. Okay. The last tip that I have for you guys tonight is I think digital is an amazing, beautiful thing. It is. It is everything I had hoped that it would be. Fast, easy, accessible, usable, shareable. It's all of those things. The one thing that it isn't is tangible. I think that more people just starting off must print out their work. They need to see their shit in print. They need to be able to hold a piece of amazing film stock. They need to be able to touch and feel the paper, hold it up and see it in real life, not on a screen. No one gives value or much value to pictures online anymore. I don't necessarily know why there is that disconnect, but there genuinely is. There is a major disconnect with people, with the way people interact with other people. There's a genuine disconnect between what's acceptable or what's awesome or what's not awesome. People feel very free to just go go fuck yourself, or you suck, or eat shit and die. Like there is no manners. And I think to the same degree, people do not appreciate your work as an artist as much if you just put it online. It's much easier to go, fuck. What'd you do that with? Photoshop? Fuck it. Eat shit. Go on. They don't appreciate as much. But when you take your passion, take your heart and soul, and you just spill it all over canvas, or you've actually written something, not typed, but written. And I think all writers shouldn't type. Like if it's a work of love, if it's a work of passion, don't type it. Go get some really nice fucking parchment paper and write it with a really nice fountain pen. Become a part of the experience. And as a photographer, and we're artists too, don't let anyone else tell you that we're not. Take the technology and create something tangible. Create something physical that you can hold, that you can touch, that you can frame, that you can say, here, check this out, and hand it off to a friend. There is a process. There is a love to it. You get to not only pick your color space, but you get to pick the kind of paper that it ends up being printed on. You get to decide whether or not maybe you want to transfer it to canvas and give it some 3D qualities or whatever. There's just there's a lot of love that seems to, or reverence. I'll even say that. I'll even go as far to say there's a lot of reverence that's given to things that are physical and tangible. Print a book. There are a lot of really good printing companies out there these days that will print books for you. And I've printed several books, so now I can say that I'm published, right? But I've actually taken artwork up to New York to show galleries and stuff like that. But I wanted a nice presentation. I just didn't want, a few prints and a photo album. I actually had a nice book printed up with a nice cover. And there's something very connective in that process. When you take what you have done, what you labored, for 12 hours trying to get that perfect shot. You go to a photo shoot and you're just working really hard, and you finally get the shot that you want. You've got 5 out of 5,000 that you actually think that are worthy enough for other people to look at. And you take those shots and you actually put them into a book, put them into print, put them on a piece of paper so that someone can see it, smell it, feel it, texture, the whole thing. And you actually put that out there. I think people respond to that better. So get your stuff printed out. And I know that I kind of rambled on about that, but there is something very real about tactile sensation to humans that make it more real. I don't know, why that is. I mean, I do. I mean, it's a million years worth of evolution. That's what it is. And we're just now getting into an age where digital is something that's, it's kind of real, but it's not really. Doesn't really make any sense to me. But I'm going to check the comments just real quick. Mildred Williams says, so true. I need to do a night shoot and I need some help with that. So that is very true. So we were talking about ideas. And she says, the second thing I did after getting my first DSLR was buy a printer. No, it's not the same as a professional print, but I needed to see my work. It is an amazing feeling to hold your work in your hands and say, I made this, me. And you are so right. There are so many different times where, you can see it on a screen and it looks great. It looks amazing. You've done something extremely beautiful with that. But it's only after it's been put on a piece of like Fuji crystal film paper, and it's just got that gloss finish, and the colors and everything are just popping off that paper. I mean, it really is. It's a beautiful, magical, an almost unreal sensation to watch something that you created in here turn into something tangible out here, exterior of the body. I don't know whether there is something magical about that process, I think. I don't know. I'm a big dork, and that's exactly the way I feel every single time that I get like a new book printed out, or I get some new photos or some new prints made up for some clients or whatever. It's just like, I did that. All of these are mine. I put love, a dash of fucking awesome, and a lot of time and effort into making this, and here it is. It is. It's a beautiful thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope that I have provided everyone here with some ideas, some thoughts, some I don't know, just some motivation to get out there and do things. And there are a lot of different ways to help not only yourself, but to help your fellow photographers, your fellow artists, your fellow creatives to make a difference, make a change. Prop somebody up. If they're feeling down and you're not, be the strong one that day. Give them some words of encouragement. I'm telling you, I mean, it does go a long way. There's a lot of times that, I make videos. I try to make them almost every single day. And it's always just really nice to read a comment that someone just takes the time to go, man, thank you for making this video. This is exactly what I needed, and I appreciate it so much. And then, there's other times where I'm taking photographs of a particular client, and they like, I really do. I know, and this is honest to God's truth. I've had so many clients to go, it took a little bit longer to do the shoot than I was expecting, but I'm so glad that you slowed me down and relaxed me and took your time with me, because I think these photos have come out just absolutely beautiful, because I didn't feel like I had to be somebody that I wasn't. And that's what I try to do with every single one of my clients, is I will not photograph them until they've had at least, 30 minutes to chat, talk, hang out, have a drink if they're into that, have a little 420 if they're down with that too. It doesn't really bother me. Either whatever happens to get them in their right space, I want them to be them. I want them to be comfortable. I want them to be relaxed. I don't want them to feel like, I want them to genuinely cherish and appreciate and love the work that I'm about to do. I don't want to spend 2 hours of my life photographing someone that's going to look at these photos for the rest of their lives, pass them on to their kids, and go, this was the worst fucking photo shoot of my entire life, and I looked like shit. I felt like shit. I was nervous. Just all right, let's go ahead and flip the page. Let's not look at that. That's a waste of my time, and it's a waste of my client's time. I'm not going to do that. I'm a very personable person, and I just want them to enjoy the work that we do together. So, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this show. I hope I gave you some ideas and some motivation, and maybe help give you some ideas for rekindling passion for your craft and your art. And if I haven't, well, go, I'll just have to try harder next time, I guess. I was going to say, I guess I'll just go fuck myself, but I do that anyway. So, at any rate, thanks again for stopping here at the Photo Video Show. PVS Live number 11 is now done. And I will see you guys again on the next one. Peace.